Good day and welcome to Keilaniemi. Sampo Group released its second quarter result today, and we have If's CAO Morten Thorsrud here to comment If's performance, and like you well know that If is a large part of Sampo. Hi Morten, and welcome to the interview.
Thank you.
Let's start with the latest performance and highlights. How would you summarize If's second quarter?
It's overall been a strong quarter. Strong premium growth, 5.6% in the quarter, 5.9% in the first half year. Good combined ratio performance, 82.9 in the quarter, 82.7 for the first 6 months. Good underlying improvement in the risk ratio. And all of this despite the fact that we've had a couple of really large claims in the second quarter. So all in all, very good results, also supported by a good investment return. So really satisfied with what we deliver for the first half year.
And you did improve your outlook as well.
Yeah, we did. We reduced the outlook by 50 basis points. So now it's 81.5 to 83.5.
Yeah.
So that's reflecting a strong underlying improvement in the combined ratio.
That's good to hear. You already mentioned large claims, and during the last days there have been a storm called Hans in the Nordic countries. And during the second quarter there were also large claims what comes to If. So could you open a little bit about how the dynamics of large claims actually works from your perspective?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think when it comes to large claims and large claims exposures, it's really good to be the largest insurance company in the Nordics.
Yeah.
To have that size to be able to balance out, because of course large claims are a bit stochastic by nature. When it comes to more than the nat cat, sort of the storms, floods, those type of claims, that typically would affect us in the private business area. And of course, it's quite common in the Nordics that we have some storms, we have sort of some cloud bursts. So this is, in a way, business as usual.
Yeah.
Also, if you have sort of severe weather, that's typically affecting private business and motor frequencies. Then the large claims is typically more property and sort of industrial, large corporate related. So the two large claims that we've had now, or two very large claims that we had in the second quarter, were related to industrial sort of properties. So that's more where you see sort of the large claims exposure.
Yeah, good to hear this insight. Over the couple of years, If's premiums have increasing very well, more than where we have get used to. What is behind this good performing? What is driving that? And can we expect same kind of development in the future also?
Yeah, I think if you look over time, as you say, the main contributor is higher retention rates. So we are able to keep our customers for a longer duration now compared to, say, 5 years ago. And we've seen a strong improvement both in the private business area and the commercial business area. So that's a good backdrop, and we continue to have very high retention rates today, sort of historically very high retention rates. Then, of course, digitalization means that we are more and more competitive in the markets. More and more of the insurance transactions take place online, and I think we have a very modern setup and really competitive advantages in that part. Then we also see strong underlying growth in certain parts of the business, in particular everything related to personal risks. There you see strong growth in the market. So we roughly have 10% growth, for instance, this year when it comes to personal risk products. So that's, I think, also is a more of a longer term trend. And then, of course, lately, inflation has been elevated, and of course, we are pricing for that. So that's, of course, also over the last few years giving us somewhat higher growth.
I want to go a bit deeper to digitalization. You have invested years in that. So, concrete example, Why is that competitive advantage to If?
Well, we are investing more than 100 million euros in new digital solutions each and every year. And of course, if we are able to do that on a Nordic scale, developing Nordic solutions, then I think it's quite obvious that few can really compete with that. We are investing more than anybody else in this market in digital solution. And again, the more we can make Nordic solutions, the more this will give us competitive advantage. And we do see that sort of on the distribution side, for instance, that more and more of the customers are buying insurances online. We see it on the claims side, that more and more of our clients, of course, are reporting claims online. And more of the claims are being now more or less fully automated. So, of course, this also gives us a competitive advantage when it comes to the cost side of things.
Yeah.
This, of course, has been an important driver for why we have been able to improve the cost ratio, typically by some 20 basis points year over year. And if you look at the longer history, last 15 years, we reduced the cost ratio of If by actually 10 percentage points. And of course, that gives us competitive advantage. It's good for us, but it's also good for the customers.
Yeah. Like you said, you are a major player in Nordics, and if we look at Denmark, your combined ratio there, it's clearly higher than in Finland and Sweden, for example. What kind of actions could you do that Denmark operation would improve better?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. And it's correct that if you look over time, the combined ratio in Denmark for us has been higher than the Nordic average. It's mainly driven by cost and the cost ratio. So if you look at it, you will see that the cost ratio for us in Denmark is higher than in the other Nordic countries. Of course, that's to a certain degree driven by the fact that we have smaller scale in Denmark. And that, of course, takes time to change. But it's also partially driven by the fact that the Danish market is yet not that digital.
Yeah.
So if you look at the Nordics, then Finland is in the lead, and Denmark is really the laggard, so to speak, when it comes to digital adoption in the P&C insurance industry. So I think as the Danish market becomes more and more digital, we will of course also start to take more benefits of that in Denmark.
That's good to hear. All players in Nordics have raised their prices in the market. Is there any sign of higher customer churn because of higher prices? You already mentioned it a bit.
Yeah, we still have what I would say is almost record high retention rates. So we still have very good retention. But of course, you still see some signs of some more customers being out checking prices. We do see an increased inflow of calls to our customer centers from customers that want to talk about their insurances and see if they can make any adjustments. But it's in the grand scale of things, it's having quite a small impact. Again, the retention rate is on a historically very high level. So far it's pretty stable actually.
Yes. Final question. Hastings is also part of Sampo. So could you give a short update how Hastings is doing in the UK?
Yeah. The UK market experienced, as everybody knows, I think, very high claims inflation after coming out of COVID, seeing kind of a claims inflation with double digits, sort of 12+%. And also had the JIP reform, and the whole market was perhaps a little bit too slow in repricing. That has really taken off this year. So prices are going up at a really sort of historically extremely high level. Strong price increases in the UK market now, which we also see in Hastings' performance. Strong growth in premiums volumes, very much driven by the fact that prices are coming up. We do also see quite a stable performance, and of course it takes time before this massive price increases are being earned through in the book. But we also see kind of good growth in the business, sort of in terms of customers. So I think overall, very promising development for Hastings in the UK market, and the market that is now really addressing the high inflation that we've seen. So we see really that players take significant actions of repricing. So that will benefit, of course, Hastings going forward.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.